Grand Rising, let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. Um, well, I normally don't I normally don't talk about other YouTubers or mention their names and stuff like that, but I felt like it was necessary to talk about the Jaylove47 situation that that young man is going through right now because it's not just a Philadelphia problem. This is a problem across the United States, period. It's not just a Philadelphia problem because the same things that are happening in Philadelphia, they're happening in New York, they're happening in here in DC, they're happening all over major cities and just all over in general. So here's what I'm talking about. I want to say over maybe a little over a week ago, J Love 47 was involved in a dispute with a man who lives in his building or who visits his mother living in who actually lives in the building. And this man was causing a disturbance. So J Love, I think he was playing his music too loud or something like that, which yeah, niggas think everybody wants to hear their fucking music. No, turn your music down, motherfucker, so you can hear that shit. Everybody don't want to hear your conversation. Everybody don't want to hear your motherfucking music. Real motherfucking talk. But we live in a garbage can trash society. You feel what I'm saying? Where people do not have any consideration for other people. Everybody don't want to hear you blasting your fucking bass in your car when you're driving up and down the motherfucking street. Everybody don't want to hear that shit. And then a lot of you niggas wonder why you get attention or you get shit attracted to you that is unwanted. Then you wonder why police officers are fucking with you sometimes. And that's no excuse for no racism or shit like that, but I'm just pointing it out. You know, I'm just pointing things out, and I don't give a fuck who gets mad. Because back in the day, we didn't have this type of shit. If niggas was gangsters and if they did what they did over there. But the problem is now they are incorporating and pushing a lot of these niggas into the suburbs and into other areas that normally were for more bougie, law-abiding citizens, such as myself. And I'm going to tell you something. It's going to get to a fucking place where there's going to be an urban war because people like me are getting tired of people like them. We're getting tired of people like this person that Jaylove47 had to deal with. But let me go further. So I told you the story about how the man assaulted his mother. Jaylove whooped his motherfucking ass after he asked the dude to turn down the music. He said the dude was a weirdo anyway. He said the dude was always, I think, in the laundry room, sitting in the corner with a hood over his head, you know, in the dark, 3 and 4 in the morning. He said he was a weirdo. He probably is in my opinion, he sounds like a sexual predator. That's what he sounds like, in my opinion. I don't give a fuck who don't like it. So this particular day, I think the dude was playing his music too loud. And Jaylove47 confronted him and said, dude, can you turn your music down? Because you're blasting your music, disturbing other people in the building. And then this nigga is not even a leaseholder. This nigga not paying no rent, no motherfucking where. He's a fucking savage. And savages bleed red like every motherfucking body else. I am really pissed off about this situation because I take it personal. Because I know how that is when the laws in this country protect the predators. So he stabbed or he slashed, I'm going to say he stabbed. He stabbed Jaylove in the face, slashed him in the face, whatever you want to call it. I call it stabbing. That's assault with a box cutter because Jaylove was whooping his motherfucking ass because the dude is really a bitch. He hits on women. He beat up his mother. He beats on his daughter, allegedly, and he beats on his baby mama. So he's a bitch-ass motherfucking nigga, like a lot of black men are these days. Don't give a fuck who gets mad. So the police come, they lock him up. Jaylove does a video yesterday updating us, letting us know, even with all of the evidence and all of the protests by the DA, they let this motherfucker out. Did y'all hear me? They let this motherfucker out. They let this dusty, dustball ass fucking nigga out after he assaulted his mother. He assaulted his elderly mother. He beats on his daughter, beats on his baby mama, and he stabbed Jaylove47. And the courts, the judge decided to let him out. What a wonderful motherfucking America. What a wonderful America. And like Jaylove said, even he said that, and I would have felt the same way. Okay, he did what he did to me. I'm a man. I can take that. But you mean to tell me that the court system is going to turn a blind eye that this nigga beat up his own mother? He slapped or punched his own mother in the face and threw her to the ground. The mother went to the DA and pleaded with them to please keep him in jail. She pleaded with the courts because she's afraid for her safety because this lunatic, her son, was threatening her. And they let him out. The judge saw no reason to hold him. They just released him yesterday. And as a civilized society, we keep letting this shit happen. No, what really needs to happen is a bunch of men. See, this is what used to happen back in the day. See, you got to go back and look at that movie Serafina. That movie Serafina, when they were fighting for their rights in South Africa because of apartheid, and I think it was during the Soweto, I may be saying that wrong, forgive me, the Soweto massacre in the late 1970s, when the South African kids were trying to go to school and they were fighting against the imperialist apartheid racist military, I think under de Klerk, under F.R. de Klerk, if I'm not mistaken. He was a racist prime minister of South Africa at that time. So they were fighting for their rights. And one of the black dudes in their group was an informant. And they found out he was playing both sides. He was going back to reporting to the white establishment, the racist white establishment in South Africa. And when the group found out, when the black kids found out, it was men and women, they hunted him down. They hunted that motherfucker down and set his ass on fucking fire. We need to really, really channel the old times of our ancestors. We really, really do. If you put your hands on your mother, and you harm your mother, there needs to be a community consequence for that. Fuck the police. And when I say fuck the police, I don't mean in the sense of, do anything to harm them or anything like that. I'm saying fuck calling them. Fuck calling the police. This needs to be addressed on a black community motherfucking level. What needs to happen, a bunch of men, about 10 motherfucking men, need to hunt that motherfucker down and whoop his motherfucking ass and put him in a hot box like Jim Jones used to do his followers. Put him in a wooden hot box with a little gate window where he can only get a little bit of air, beat his ass and put him in that motherfucking hot box for about a fucking week. Only take him out to give him some water and something to eat. But have him shackled and put him in that motherfucking box so he can think about what he did to his mother and what he did to his daughter and what he did to his baby mama and assaulting other black people. But the court systems, they protect crackheads. They protect violent predators. So when I hear black men talk about the court system, they against the black man. No, they not. Especially if you're a predatory type of black man. They protect you. They're not against you. The only black men that they really kill are black men like me, black men like Jaylove. Because I guarantee you, if Jaylove had been the aggressor in that, he would still be in jail. He was just talking about how he was almost charged with terroristic threats, and he was only making those threats because there was someone, I'm not going to get into the details, but there was someone who was threatening him, and he was responding to it. And then that person runs and goes to the court system saying that they were in fear for their life when they started it. See, that's the type of shit that this fucking judicial system, this is what they do. They protect the predators. They protect the crackheads. They don't protect the women. They don't protect the fucking children. They don't. Even as gay men, we have a responsibility to protect black women and black children. And we can't allow these types of men to continue to walk this fucking earth. But see, so many gay men have become so motherfucking complacent. Yeah, I said it. They become so fucking complacent, just like so many men have. You've gotten so comfortable with just being. You just want to calm them down. Calm it down. Calm it down. No, it's no time to be motherfucking calm no more. We got this shit going on right here where the justice system don't give a fuck whether black people harm or kill each other. They don't care anything about that. We have banks that are closing all around us, and everybody just want to continue drinking and getting high. When are you niggas going to wake the fuck up? Oh, you'll wake up when you're dead. That's when you'll wake up. When you're dead. And there's nothing that you can do, because no matter what fairy tales you fucking believe, when you're dead, you're fucking dead. Now that doesn't mean that there's not an existence after that. I'm not saying that. But when this body is dead, it's fucking dead. And there's nothing you can do then at that point. We have a duty and a responsibility to make sure shit like this does not continue to happen. But the problem is, it can't just be one person. It has to be a community effort. And it cannot be with bigotry or prejudice. You can't go into it, well, I don't like gay people. I don't like this. You can't go into it with that. We have to have a common goal, and then we can go back to the petty shit. That you don't like this person and you don't like that person. But the problem with black people is the reason that we cannot mobilize is because we are too petty, we are too childish, and we don't know how to let shit fucking go. And we turn on each other so quickly. We turn on each other so fucking quickly. And that's a curse and a spell in and of itself. All of this ties into spirituality and the occult. Divide and conquer is a curse. No, all of us are not the same. All of us do have different ideas. But sometimes the differences, it doesn't mean that we all have to practice the same form of magic or voodoo or whatever or religion. It doesn't mean that. But it does mean that maybe you know something that I don't know. Maybe I know something that you don't know, and maybe if we collaborate, we can come up with a solution. But the problem is with black people and humanity in general, humanity, not just black people, but I'm talking about black people because these are black issues. The problem is that everybody wants to be a motherfucking chief. There has to be a chief, and there has to be someone that follows. In any civilized society, there are people at the top and there are people at the bottom. But the problem in this society, in this culture is that the people at the bottom should not be mistreated and treated like slaves. When I say the bottom, I'm talking about the underworld. There should be people at the top and people at the bottom and maybe in the middle, and everybody should have their own technique and way of accomplishing things for the greater good or for the greater balance. not for the people at the top to get the people in the middle to take advantage of the people at the bottom, and not for the people at the bottom to start uprooting and causing violence and chaos, trying to take out the people in the middle at the top. It should be a collective effort of balance. And that is why we're having the problems that we're having. The planet is not in balance. Anytime you have a court system that ignores the pleas of an elderly woman who is telling you she is deathly afraid of her son because he assaulted her, and she presses charges against him, and they let him out anyway. Anytime that happens, number one, that should tell you that the justice system don't give a fuck about black women. They don't give a fuck about black women. They really don't give a fuck about black men like this person abusing black women. They don't give a fuck about that. That should tell you that right there and there. Right there and there. That's what it tells you. And I don't think it's just limited to Philadelphia. I think it's across the board, because even here in the DC, Maryland area, they have allowed criminals, crackheads, drug dealers, drug addicts, predators. They have allowed them to run DC in the DC, Maryland area for a very long motherfucking time, because the people at the top have no class and they're ghetto trash. A lot of these people at the top are ghetto trash. I remember years ago when I was applying to go to the University of the District of Columbia, UDC. And the man who was supposed to be the intake person, this motherfucker had on suede motherfucking dress shoes. He looked like a drunk and a crackhead. You're supposed to be representing the University of the District of Columbia. First of all, the university at that time, the University of the District of Columbia, when you went into the building, it looked very dark and eerie. UDC, it looked very dark and eerie. And the person who was doing the intake and just looking around the place, I was like, I'm not going to this motherfucking school. I knew then it was going to be a repeat of Shaw and Coolidge. I wasn't going back to that motherfucking shit. I said no. Absolutely not. I was not going back to that bullshit. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. DC has always been a cesspool for criminals and misfits and chaos. DC has always been like that. But the government, and not just the government, but people in certain positions, and this ain't no government conspiracy theory, no shit like that. This ain't no theory. This is actual facts that I have seen, even when I was going to school. When I was going to school, you saw how the principals and the teachers, they catered to the criminals that were in the school, the dudes that were in and out of jail all the fucking time, committing violent acts. Now, even though some of those dudes might have been very intelligent, I'm not taking that away from them, but intelligence without civility is like giving a cave person a nuclear weapon. You can have intelligence. You can be intelligent and intellectual, but what is the driving force behind that? Because if you don't have spirit and soul backing that up, then it's like I just said, it's like giving a cave person advanced technology and they don't know what to do with it. You can create a rock, just as an example. You can know how to create fire. Let me say it like this: you can know how to create fire from a rock and a stick. But after you create the fire, what do you do with it? That's what I'm saying. Because I've heard the argument, well, a lot of those types of dudes are smart, but they're smart They may be smart and intelligent, but they use their intelligence in the wrong way. They use their intelligence to be manipulative, to harm people, to bully people, to harass people. Like this dude who assaulted his mother, this bitch nigga who assaulted his mother, and I wish every negative thing to happen to him. I wish every negative thing, and the people that watch me, if you went over there and watched Jaylove47's video, if you watched that and you saw that dude that Jaylove had the altercation with, please send him every bit of negative energy that you can possibly think of. Because a lot of these Trinidadians and these Jamaicans that come over here, and I don't give a fuck who gets mad about it, a lot of them think that they can bully and think that they can test Black Americans motherfucking pimping. And let me tell you motherfuckers something. It ain't what the fuck you think. Black Americans are very dark and we can be very sinister. My roots come from Kentucky and Virginia. Two very sinister, dark fucking places. A lot of these laws, let me tell you something. A lot of these laws protect these predators. And I'm talking about, and it extends to pedophiles, murderers, and all of these other types of people, because at the top, that is what they are. So of course they're going to protect shit like that. And then on top of that, they don't give a fuck about no niggas fighting each other. In their mind, they're like, let them kill each other off. We can clean that area out. We can start a pattern. Let them kill each other off. Yeah, let the niggers kill each other off. We can start a pattern. Get them out of that neighborhood. Get some clean people in there. You know, let's do that. Oh, yeah, that'll work. It's all by design. Like I was telling you all the other day, they put all of these different Black people from different corners of the earth, they put them all together because they know that's all by design, because they know that all of us are not going to get along. All of us are not going to get along. They know that. But they be trying to test our fucking pimping. And motherfucker, we will show up. We will show up. Anyway, that's really all I have to say. I'm just like, wow. That people need to pay attention to that. What's happening to Jaylove47 in Philadelphia, people really need to pay attention to that. We cannot ignore that. Because if it's happening in Philadelphia, it's going to be happening in other places too. And it's been going on. It's been going on. And let me say this too. This does not just happen to Black people. It happens with white women too. It happens with women in general a lot of times. You will not, I mean, there have been so many stories that were reenacted where women have been stalked, not just Black women, but women in general that have been stalked, have been preyed upon by men, and they go to the justice system crying and begging them for assistance. And you know what them motherfuckers do? You know what they tell them? There's nothing that we can really do. That's not really against the law for somebody to put a camera in front of your house and intimidate you and watch you. But I guarantee you those same law enforcement people, if someone were to do that to them, they would find a way within the law to take that person down. But we have to keep going by these laws that protect these types of predators, like that predator that Jaylove47 is dealing with right now. That dude is a predator. He should not even be breathing, if you ask me. He doesn't deserve to fucking breathe. And I ask that the ancestors snatch his breath out of his motherfucking body for beating on his mother. And the only reason he got mad at his mother was because his mother took Jaylove's side. The mother said she's been having problems with him for a very long time. She said he has been a piece of shit most of his life. She says that this person sits up in her house, terrorizing her in her house, terrorizing his daughter, looking at violent crimes or criminal shows, and getting excited when someone gets killed. This is the type of person that the court system has let back on the street. But this doesn't just happen to black women, of course. This happens to women across the board. I've seen it happen to women across the board. Black, white, it doesn't matter. But mainly I've seen it more so happen across the board, more so with black and white women. Because black men have a close link with the pathology of white men. They have a closely knit link with their pathology when they're psychopaths. And I don't give a fuck who gets mad about that. Sometimes I sit back and I look at, even some of them niggas in the conscious community, I listen to what they say. I'm like, this nigga sound like a straight fucking white racist. This nigga, just the energy of it, no matter what's coming out of their mouth. See, I see the energy. And when I say see, I don't mean physically. I know that's above a lot of people's pay grade, but I'm talking about I see the energy. I see the fakeness. I see they really not about that fucking life. I'm like, that's a racist fucking spirit on that person. They don't give a fuck about black people's consciousness or helping black people expand their consciousness. They're only there for their own self-gratification and their own purposes. This is, we need to pay attention to this. Because we need to keep an eye on this, because if that is happening in Philadelphia, where they are turning a blind eye to someone who he stabbed Jaylove in the face. Since when can you stab someone in the face and then get off and be released? Now, I don't know if the charges are dropped. I think they still have to go to court. But they released him on his own recognizance for a violent crime like that. And you all want me to believe that black men have a hard time in the criminal system? I think they're harsher on black women, truthfully, than they are black men. Because that black woman that shot her husband in self-defense, they gave that lady 20 or 30 years. I can't remember all of the legalities of the case, but you know what I'm talking about. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Trump and Kim Kardashian got her released or something. They gave that woman 20 years for shooting her husband in self-defense. But you mean to tell me you want me to believe that the justice system has some type of prejudice against black men in totality? Not saying that it doesn't, but that's hard for me to believe based upon what I have seen. Oh, it's a problem only when a black man does something to a non-black person. Is that what it is? It's only a problem when that black man has a certain genetic code. That's when you lock him up. Right? I've seen more black women get thrown in jail for petty shit or self-defense. And then if you hurt one of these motherfucking predators, then they'll tell you, oh, you committed a crime. We'll just put you in jail. No, you committed a crime. But this person was harassing me and stalking me and threatening me and becoming physical with me and trying to, no, you took it to another level. You escalated it when you pulled out a knife. So no, you have to go to jail. But yet, this motherfucker attacked his mother that same night that he attacked Jaylove with that box cutter. He assaulted his mother that same night, and the judge let him out yesterday. What a wonderful America. The justice system is not just not perfect. The justice system is fucked up in this country. It is fucked up. And I don't mean just for black people. It's fucked up for citizens, period. It's fucked up for citizens, period. Because like I said, I've seen white people go through the exact same motherfucking thing. We got to stop pigeonholing shit. See, that's the problem. We keep looking at things in black and white and see, I'm starting, and I know that they're more racist towards the justice system is racist, more racist towards us. I get that. We got it. Got it. But when you really start taking off the blinders and you really look at it, white people, you all are cattle too. You're cattle too. You're cattle too. You're facing the same injustices that we face. But the problem with you, white people, is that you think that you're superior, a lot of you. And you walk around with a superior attitude when there's no room for it. You're cattle too. They don't give a fuck about you either. They don't give a fuck about you either. And as a matter of fact, they're pushing you out as well. They're pushing you out as well. Anyway, I just had to get that off my chest. We need to pay attention to this. We need to pay attention to what's happening. We need to keep our spiritual eye on it because I don't see it getting better anytime soon. The only way it's going to get better is that we have to start speaking up and not just one person reposting a tweet. We have to really come together collectively with all of our individuality, with no prejudice. We have to come together and say, hey, look, this shit ain't gonna keep standing. See, Jaylove, really, what he really needed, he needed some prayer warriors behind him. He needed some spiritual work behind him to make sure that that motherfucker went to jail. Because I tell you, if that had been me, he wouldn't just have to worry about being in jail if it was me, number one. But if that had been me, I would have did some motherfucking work. And sometimes doing work is more than just, what we think. There's some spiritual work I don't think he had the community support that he needed. You know what I'm saying? There needed to be a community support that was backing him. I thought by that man's mother, he's not even a fucking man. I don't even want to call him no man. But that thing's mother, I thought by when the mother went to court and said, listen, I'm afraid of my son. He assaulted me that same night too. You would have thought that would have been enough. But it wasn't. The judge decided to let the person out. And that judge that did that, if anything happens to Jaylove47 or that woman, if anything happens to either one of them, that's going to be on that judge's conscience, and those spirits are going to come for retribution. I promise you that. See, that's the type of work we got to do. We can't keep playing with these people because they don't give a fuck about our lives. They keep putting us in these positions and around these crazy, psychotic black people. We keep being lumped in with these crazy psychopaths. Okay, then there's going to be one or two things. We're either going to fold or we're going to force them to go by community guidelines and standards if they want to continue living in this community, or if they do not, we're going to run them off or worse. That's the only way things are going to change. And I know people don't want to hear that, but that's the only way things are going to change. We cannot have men, and I can't even call this dude a man. We cannot have dudes or males like that in this community beating up on women and beating up on their elders. We cannot stand for that shit. But one person can't do it. But the problem is so many black men, they back up that type of fucking thinking because they don't like gay people. And in their minds, they're going to say, well, his mother shouldn't have been supporting no gay person that wasn't her son, no way. She wasn't supporting him. She was backing him up because her son ain't shit. And she knows she was backing him up because her son was wrong. Her son was dead fucking wrong. But a lot of black men, they have this mindset. And people may want to argue that, and they may want to say, well, that's not true. And you can do all of that. You can do all of that. But the facts don't lie. There were black men right in that motherfucking building that did not come out to assist J Love. But had it been a white person or a gay white person, black men would have gotten involved. Other black men would have gotten involved. I've seen that before too. It had been a non-black person, a gay non-black person, black men would have gotten involved and gave their lives. Because that's how they are. They don't give a fuck about other black people. And that's why we can't mobilize. You can't expect women to be mobilizing against no motherfucking man for the most part. Black men don't give a fuck about other black people, especially this generation of black men. They don't. Not even Generation X, even they're fucked up. Have you ever wondered why we're called Generation X? Has anybody ever wondered why? Now, well, some people say I'm a millennial. Some people say I'm Generation X. I really don't vibe with Generation X like that for the most part. I think it's because I'm in between. I'm the gateway between millennial and Generation X. I'm in between. My mother says she considers me a millennial, no matter what they say online. She said, I don't give a fuck what they say online. She said, I gave birth to you, so I consider you a millennial. I said, okay, but maybe I'm an older millennial. Let's just say that. But we can't, I mean, what are people supposed to do? We just keep letting this shit happen? But I was making a point about Generation X or whatever the case may be. I forgot what it was. I've been talking about so much shit, I forgot. I think that's all I have to say. I just had to come through and just talk. I've been in a talkative mood lately. I get into these moods lately where I feel like talking. Some days I'm like, I don't want to talk to nobody on the motherfucking YouTube, or anything like that. But I don't know. I don't know, but I was saying that this generation, especially this generation, I was going to say was that Generation X, I was trying to remember what I was going to say. I remember. Generation X, why do you think? See, people are not thinking. Why would they call a Generation X? To X you out. That's why they call us Generation X. To X you out. We were supposed to be the generation to break this shit down. But they X'd us out. They called us Generation X. To X us out. When you put an X on something, that means you're canceling that or you're removing that. You're canceling that out or you're removing it. When you think of an X, just think of an X. See, we have to think of the symbology behind these things too. They neutralized Generation X. That is why so many of our Generation X sisters and brothers, especially brothers, are not here because they killed off all of the real brothers. And they gave us all of this other shit, like that motherfucking nigga up there in Philadelphia who attacked Jaylove and his mother. That's the type of shit that we're left with. That type of bullshit. They killed off the black men that could mobilize things. And I'm not talking about no Martin Luther King or nobody in no limelight. I'm talking about dudes that were not known, that were on a community level, that really could get things done. They took those people out. Those people were taken out. Framed. Killed. Thrown in jail. They were taken out. Even if they were involved in some type of criminal activity, at one time, criminals had a code of conduct. Even they had a code of conduct, and there were certain things they just didn't do. And niggas that beat up on their mothers, they would kill that motherfucking nigga. See, he does this shit out here in the street because he knows that the average person is not really trying to go to jail. They're not really trying to go through all that, but fuck with my mother, or you fuck with me, or you fuck with any. If that was my brother and he did that to my mother, let me tell you something. There would be no place on this planet that that motherfucker can hide. I would go after him. There would be no place because Sia Grant would go out the window and Pazuzu will enter the motherfucking house. Pazuzu will enter the motherfucking house. And Pazuzu is relentless. That's my darker side. That energy's relentless. And I try not to tap into that unless I necessarily have to. And once I do, I ain't gonna care about no police. I ain't gonna care about no FBI. I ain't gonna care about no CIA. Fuck with my family or my mother and find out. Or somebody that I love and find out. Not only will I fuck you over spiritually, I'm gonna fuck you over physically as well. See, that's what that motherfucker right there needs. He needs somebody like that. And it's really a shame that Jaylove47 has to move out of his apartment for safety reasons now. It's amazing he has to move out of his apartment for safety reasons. I remember one time, some years back, this dude that I was messing around with, this was years ago, he got mad at me because I didn't like the way he was talking to me in my house. And you know what? If I'm not mistaken, I think he was from Philadelphia too. I think he was from Philadelphia, but he lived here in the DC, Maryland area. And we got into an argument. The only thing I said, don't tell me to shut the fuck up. Now, he was saying it in a playful way, but I don't play like that. You don't tell me to shut the fuck up. I'm a grown fucking man. I don't care if I was wearing a wig or a dress or not. I'm a grown motherfucking man. You don't tell me to shut the fuck up, nigga. I don't like nobody talking to me like that in my fucking house. And plus, I don't know you like that anyway. I didn't know you like that. He was drunk. He was very inebriated. And that was my fault because once I saw that he was drunk, I should have never let him come to my house. I had known him before, but I had never been around him when he was drinking. So we get into an altercation, verbal. He cussing me out, saying all this old bullshit, right? When he goes to leave out of my apartment door, I purposely hit him in the back with my door and threw his ass out of my house. He tried to kick my door in to get back in, of course. But I tell you one motherfucking thing. He never came back around this motherfucker. Now this is when I lived somewhere else, not where I live at now. But he never came back. He didn't come back. I'm going to tell you why he didn't come back. Because people, my mother and everybody was worried, well, what if he comes back? I wasn't worried about that. The only reason I took out a police report was because the apartment complex was trying to make me pay for the door, which would have been $800. And I was like, because he really damaged the door trying to kick it, And I was like, no, I'm not paying for that. I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared of nothing. But I had to make it look like I was, so I wouldn't have to pay the $800 for the door. But I wasn't scared of a motherfucking thing because I went back out there that night after it happened. Once I ain't scared of shit. So the moral of the story is this. He didn't come back because he realized that I fought back and he realized that I play dirty when it comes to fighting. See, I don't fight fair. I don't believe in no fair fight with an enemy. If you turn your motherfucking back on somebody, if you turn your back on somebody like me, you fucking crazy, especially if we're enemies. Now, I'm not talking about people that I'm cool with or friends. I'm talking about if you identify yourself as an enemy, you should never turn your back on me. Because if you do, your ass is mine. Your ass is mine. And I reserve the right to do whatever I want to do with an enemy. I reserve the right to do whatever I want to do with an enemy. And I do. So when he turned his back and I hit him with the back of the door as hard as I possibly could, he tried to get back in, but of course he couldn't overpower me. Of course, he couldn't overpower me. And if he would have got back in the fucking apartment, I probably would be in jail right now. I would be in jail. But the moral of the story is that I fought back. I fought back. I fought back. And he didn't come back. And I'm hoping because see, Jaylove fought back. He fought back and see, trust me, that dude remembers that. Even though he's crazy, I don't think that dude motherfucking crazy. He knows that Jaylove will whoop his motherfucking ass. Jaylove fought back. And that's what you have to do to people like that dude and that dude that tried to kick my fucking door in a few years back. You have to do things like that. You have to fight them back, because if you don't fight them back, they're going to think they can keep coming back and victimizing you. Now, his mother, that's another story. I feel sorry for her. He might come back for the mother, unfortunately. But with Jaylove, I don't know if he's going to come back. I think with Jaylove, he knows Jaylove will talk shit back to him, and he knows that Jaylove will whoop his motherfucking ass or worse. He knows that. Same thing with the dude who tried to kick my door in. I hit him in the back with the door. I hit him hard with it. So he knows, even though you may not think that was a big thing, but he knows that I will fight back. See, I wanted to put something in his mind. Because I don't really like doing no fighting. I really don't. Anybody that tells you they like to fight, they fucking great. I don't like doing no fighting. I'm too pretty to fight. But if I have to, I will. And I don't fight fair. And see, when I fight to eliminate the person. That's what I do. So that's why I really don't like getting into conflicts, because see, I'm going to want to fight to eliminate that person. I'm going to want to erase any memory of them from the earth, and you can take that how you want. You feel what I'm saying? Especially when you have identified yourself to be an enemy, a bully, or somebody that's trying to disturb my fucking peace. And that's what these type of niggas do. They want to come to destroy your peace because they're devils. They are low-level scavenger devils. This is what they do. But when I hit that nigga in the back of I knew he wasn't going to come back around me. I knew it. I knew it. And I did. Yes, I did do work on his motherfucking ass. And yes, I did do legal work on his motherfucking ass. Because I wanted to destroy. It wasn't about fear. I wanted to destroy him from all motherfucking angles. I wanted to destroy his mental, his freedom, and every motherfucking thing else. And I will never stop until the day I die. If I have an enemy, I will never stop attacking you until I die. I will never stop attacking you spiritually until I die. I will never stop. Even if you change your motherfucking life and you become a better person, I don't give a fuck. Even if you apologize, I don't give a fuck. I ain't gonna never stop. Now, there may be people that I may have reservations for, like my friend, even though let me tell you, yesterday, he must have known that I was a little upset with him. He came in here and brought me a box of chocolates. Isn't that interesting? But I appreciated it. You know what I mean? Because with him, even though I may have to give him some fire and some work, but with him, it's different because we have a different type of relationship. Don't mean I don't have my feelings, but it just means that I'm not going to do that with him. But if you are an enemy and you present yourself to be an enemy, I mean just an enemy, I will never stop coming for you. You can think everything going right in your motherfucking life and then boom, it pops back up. I will never stop. it will continue. That is how I am. And that person that did that to Jaylove47, he needs something like that. You don't put your hands on your motherfucking mother. You don't put your hands on your daughter, and you don't put your hands on women, period. For no fucking reason. I know conflicts happen sometimes, and I know shit goes down sometimes, and sometimes people make mistakes or whatever the case may be, but you don't put your motherfucking hands on no woman. You don't do that, especially your elderly mother. And they let that out. They let that out. That lets you know the justice system ain't shit, that it ain't just. Some work needs to be done on the justice system. How about that? They not above a reproach, or however you say it. They not above getting work done on them. Judges, lawyers, DAs, they're not above getting work done on them. They're not. I done work on police officers before. Sure have. I've done work on political figures before. Who the fuck do you think they are? They ain't better than me. They may have money, but they ain't got the spirit. And like someone was saying, that's why a lot of these rich people are buying up spiritual places, because they lack spirit. They lack spirit. Excuse me, my nose is kind of stopped up. So no, when you fight these people back, they normally don't come back. So I'm going to take a guess and say that this dude is probably not going to come back around there fucking with Jaylove, because number one, he knows now that the police are on his trail. He didn't think he was going to jail. He got off, but now he has papers on him, and he also knows that Jaylove will fight back. And when niggas know you will fight back, they will leave you alone, because you know what? This generation of niggas are really cowards. They're really cowards. Black men have become cowards. That's some cowardly shit that he did to his mother. Not all black men, of course, but this particular generation of black men, they've become cowards. Beating up on old ladies? Your mother? I couldn't live with myself. I probably would take myself, if I did anything to hurt my mother consciously or unconsciously like that, I wouldn't even want to live no more. I wouldn't even want to live no more. My mother has made me very angry at times. Very angry. Now, have I talked shit to my mother? Yeah. If I had to check her? Yeah. But to put your hands on your mother, and assault her when she's an elderly woman, that is awful. The thought of that would never even cross my mind to even do something like that. And I've had legitimate reasons to be angry with my mother. I've had legitimate reasons to be very angry with her. But never has it crossed my mind to put my hands on her. Never. And I'm not saying I'm no motherfucking saint, because I'm not. I ain't no fucking saint. But then again, maybe I am, because I'm the sinner that fell and then I rose up again. And that's what saints are. You know that song by Donnie McClurkin? A saint is just a sinner that fell down. We fall down, but we get up. And I'm not saying that to be funny or to be, comical. That is a real Proverbs. We fall down, but we get up. For a saint is just a sinner who fell down. That is true. And that song really touches me. A saint is a sinner that fell down. And it's time for the saints to rise the fuck up and take these devils out. And their supporters. And their coddlers. The black woman is the saint and the sinner. And black men, a few black men too, And those people that have that energy. And I say that in respect. I don't say that to, I'm saying the saint is the sinner that fell down. That's what a saint is. My grandmother that died, she was a saint. Christopher Berry was a saint. I don't really, you know what? I take myself out of that category. I ain't no saint. No, I don't want to be in. I'm not. I'm not in that category. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. Anyway, I think I've talked enough. We need to pay attention to what's going on. You know, it's a lot of shit that's that's going on. You know, it's time for the saints to rise up.